Why do 99% of diets fail? So I'm gonna get straight into it. I've bought a few ingredients that I'm gonna talk through that might just be ruining your diet. Let's go. So we're gonna start off with a healthy food, the avocado. Now it does have lots of healthy fats, and there are no food that is either healthy or unhealthy. Everything can be part of a balanced diet. But what we're told is healthy on the one hand, if not eaten in moderation, could actually be doing our weight loss journey harm. So in this avocado, there's 300 calories, give or take a few here or there. Now it's also very easy to eat a lot of avocado, especially when you think of it in guacamole where it's mashed up. We can eat a lot of volume of this. Now, for those 300 calories, I'm gonna show you an equivalent of what that looks like. So we have this triple chocolate sundae with exactly 300 calories. Now, this isn't me saying don't eat avocado, go and eat these. All I'm trying to do is to help you get an awareness of the types of food you are eating and the calorific content. Because as I've mentioned over and over, it's all about getting yourself into a sustainable calorie deficit, which is going to help you lose weight. Next up, we're going to go through snack choices. So I went to Pret to get my oat flat white, which I will bring up in just a second. And at the counter, you might be looking at some snacks and you see these two options. You've got your flapjack and you've got your chocolate bar. Now, quite often we'll have a craving for this, but because we're told that the flapjack is more healthy, we might opt for that instead. Now, there's a couple of things here. In actual fact, this flapjack has 280 calories in it, so it's not that far off from the chocolate sundae. But also, when in direct comparison to this one, this has 350. So yes, it has more calories, but only 70 more calories. And if, by me making this choice earlier in the day and depriving myself of this, which I actually want, leads to me eating things later because I've been good, then the 70 calories I've saved here, I'm gonna eat way more later on in the day. So again, worthwhile checking out your snacks. So, as I mentioned, the drink that we're looking at here, so I go for an oat flat white. Now this has 80 calories in it. Now one of these drinks in a day, absolutely fine. However, if I go and have a few of these, you can see how it adds up. Also, some of the other drinks you can get with full fat milk or larges, or even the ones where they do with whipped cream, you could end up having over 400 calories in just a drink. So again, this isn't to say those drinks are bad, but when you only have a certain amount of calories in the day, do you really want to be wasting them on just a drink?
Well, if you're gonna do something wrong, do it right.
And while we're on the subject of drinks, this is another area where people can fall down. Now again, a single drink of alcohol on its own isn't going to hit into your calories too much. For example, can of Guinness, that's 155 calories. The large glass of red, so one of these 250 mils, that's around 200 calories. But if you don't just have one, those calories can really add up. And worse than that is it doesn't make you full. So if you had a bottle of wine, you'd be drinking 600 calories, which is the equivalent of 2 of these chocolate sundaes, except you're not gonna be full. In actual fact, you're probably gonna start to get hungry because you've had alcohol, and this is where the problem lies. So again, not bad, but just something to keep an eye on when you are on a weight loss journey. And now we're gonna go for the hidden calories. So something that I always talk about with clients when we first look at tracking. Certain foods, it doesn't matter if we're not as accurate with tracking them, but there are some that make a big difference. For example, peanut butter. So in this jar, there are 2,000 calories, just over. Now you might say, that's fine, I'm not gonna eat the whole jar. However, when the recommended serving size is 15 grams, and that's only 89 calories, if we don't measure what we're putting in, we think we're having 89 calories, but that could look quite different. So we're gonna measure out what 15 grams is actually like. So bear with, it's gonna be sticky, so. Okay, that's, in fact, I'll take it over, just so you can have a look. This was a total guess. So that half a spoonful in there is the 15 grams that is the 89 calories. However, what we tend to do when we're like waiting to make something is we might even just have that as we're waiting to make our snack. I forget how claggy peanut butter is. So if you're a little bit of peanut butter before you start putting your peanut butter on toast, then you put that on toast, and I'd say most people are gonna easily have double, if not triple, that volume when you're putting it on toast or anything like that. That's when those calories are really starting to add up. And although we think of them as a high protein food, because it does have protein in, for 100 grams, you would get 26 grams of protein, but that's nearly 600 calories. So if you compare that to, say, a protein yogurt, so this one has 20 grams of protein in, you can get those with around 25, and the calories in these is less than 150. You can start to see that when you're looking to try and get high protein foods, you want to just make sure that they're not also really high in fat as well. Otherwise, it's going to take you over your calorie limit for the day. And on that note, cheese. So again, I'm going to get a different tub to the peanut butter, because otherwise that is gross. So normal cheddar cheese. So when we look at the back of this, the recommended serving, so that's what we look at and go per serving size, great, is 30 grams of cheese. So for that, you would get 7 grams of protein, 10 grams of fat, and that would be 125 calories. Okay, so we're gonna go for what we think might be 30 grams. In fact, I can do this a bit more controlled. Okay, I'm over, right. So this in there, okay, that's 40 grams in there. So it's already over by 10 grams, and I was pouring that in a tiny little bit. And again, this is an amount that you could even just snack on. And if you think of what you might put on top of fajitas or on top of a chili or just throwing it in an omelette, things like that, that can have a massive impact, because if we go for double, for example, of what was expected in that serving size, as well as then snacking on a bit beforehand, we are massively underestimating the amount that we are having. So had I not have measured that and gone, yeah, that's about a portion size, I'm thinking that's 125 calories, whereas actually it's now closer to 300 by the time I've snacked and when I've put double the amount on, because I don't know what 30 grams looks like. So this is why tracking can be really useful, because now I know and I go, okay, that's around it. Next time, then I know that that's about the amount that I need, or slightly less if I'm trying to aim for the 30 grams. So to get 15 grams of protein in this, just under actually, you'd be looking at 250 calories in cheese. Now to get the same amount, in fact, more amount of protein, you could have 3 slices of this and that would give you just shy of 18 grams of protein, but you'd only be looking at 150 calories. So you're getting slightly more protein for less calories. Also, having it in the slices makes it really easy because there's no portion control in there. You know exactly what you're having without having to weigh it out. And of course, if you do have dogs, there's always a cheese tax. And then my final one for today on foods that can trip you up a bit would be nuts. So again, we're told that nuts are really, really healthy, and it's not to say they're not, but what we can do is overeat them very, very easily. They're moreish, they don't fill you up straight away, and they are high in fat. So in this bag here, 600 calories. And again, the recommended portion size is around 30 grams, but realistically, we never end up having that much. So hopefully this first section has been helpful and gives you more of an understanding of how much calories are in certain foods and how some of them can end up tripping us up. So we've looked at the foods that can catch you out when you are trying to lose weight or when you are trying to diet. So follow on from that, I'm going to talk about some common mistakes people make when trying to diet. Number 1 is cutting out whole food groups. And a lot of people tend to cut out carbs completely when they're trying to lose weight. But my argument is it isn't sustainable. And with all the stuff we're going to look at today, you need to ask yourself, can you see yourself doing it forever? If the answer is no, then it's not the right thing for you. Because even if you do lose weight, you're going to put it back on again when you revert to normal. So instead of cutting out whole food groups, you could simply cut down on certain foods, which means you don't end up craving them because you are allowed them. All you're doing is moderating the portion sizes or the frequency of which you have those foods. As I've spoken about a lot in my nutrition videos, protein when you're trying to lose weight is key. Now that doesn't mean you cut out carbs, it just means you focus on having a lot of protein within your nutrition. The second most common mistake that I see is people being overly restrictive, and they work in absolutes. Now the problem with this technique is it's relying on a lot of willpower. So for example, saying I'm not going to have any biscuits or any cakes, and completely cutting out certain foods that you absolutely love. And I'm sure you can do that short term, but at some point, willpower will run out and you're going to be craving it because it's your favorite type of food. And because we're in absolutes and we say I'm not having any, when we have one, what we tend to do is go, right, that's it, and we give up and we overeat on that type of food. So it's far better to build those healthy habits, be able to enjoy your favorite foods, but in moderation. And like with everything in life, it takes practice. So you need to cut yourself some slack. Practice making good decisions around your food, and the more it becomes natural, the less you'll even have to think about it. And it just becomes a way of life rather than a diet. Once you nail this type of thinking, everything becomes so much easier. So to recap, if you have to suffer or rely very heavily on willpower and you can't see yourself doing something for a long time, it's safe to say it is not the right thing for you. Instead, practice good decision making around your nutrition, build those healthy habits, make sure you include the foods that you love, and you'll find that your nutrition is so much easier to stick to. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think of it in the comments and make sure to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Don't judge me.